I am woman, rising with the dawn of time. My spirit flows through ages past and stretches forward ever vast.
I am woman, keeper of life's sacred flame, dancing through the cosmic dance, never beginning, without end.
I am woman, weaving wisdom through the years. My voice echoes in the wind, carrying stories that have always been.
I am woman, guardian of ancient knowing, my feet planted in the earth, while my crown touches stars above.
I am woman, ocean deep and mountain strong. My heart beats with nature's rhythm, in sync with all that is and was.
I am woman, neither bound by time nor space. My essence flows through every age, eternal as the turning page.
I am woman, dancing through infinity, each morning fresh yet ancient too, like mornings ever present do.
I am woman, forever now, forever here. My presence spans all space and time, in endless circles, yours and mine. I am woman.
Hey,
Hey, we back.
back at it again with another
Episode
episode 2.
of
The time is
Now.
now.
Shall we begin?
I guess we shall.
Today we're going to use
It's a deck. It's Talking Hearts. So it's like a card game deck on the same vibe of the We're Not Really Strangers. So you want to pull? Should I pull?
You pull first.
Which means I'm asking you. I don't know because we got confused last time.
That's
Both
all right.
times. Let's see. If you were offered a free trip to space, would you take it?
As adventurous as I am, I probably would, just to know what's there.
Right.
When do you feel the most connected to me?
Oh, man. I feel the most connected to you definitely when we talking. Probably like I'm telling you in those in-between moments where I'm about to go out. I was just about to leave out. And then I walk in and it's like, oh my God, we just have to catch each other up about our day. And you telling me about what happened with you and I'm telling you, and I'm standing almost at the door. I'm kind of trying to leave, but it's like, I don't know. I just always feel that's always like you my girl. Let me tell you what happened to me today.
That's incredible. So we're here again. I am Bukama Goldston,
And I'm Batia Goldston.
and we are going to have a conversation about
Womanhood.
and what that means for us. So let us begin. Are you a woman?
Am I a woman? So, yes, I think I'm coming into another layer of womanhood. As I'm coming, I guess, into adulthood, right?
Yeah.
It's like as you become an adult, you kind of, that girlhood is a bit over. You kind of stepping into some whole new shoes of womanhood, whatever that means. Are you a woman?
That's a loaded question. As far as I know, in this lifetime, I am a woman.
Mm-hmm.
I am a female. Yes. Life complexities of being a woman and the beauties and the wonderment of it. I'm a woman.
Period.
Where should we begin? Where would you like to start?
I don't know.
Why do we want this subject? Why do we think this is an important topic for us to share with people about our life and being a woman? From childhood to girlhood to womanhood to, how did that come to be? Did you always like being a girl?
Personally, me. It was always like complicated, I think. It was always like here and there. There was aspects about it that I loved that I was like, oh my God, yay, girl. And there were so many aspects that I was just like, what? Why do I have to do this stuff that boys don't have to do? They never have to think about. It doesn't even concern them. And this is like a part of my life. And this is not something that I want to do. The stuff that was like the girly stuff and that I wanted to do, oh yeah, that was all me. That was going to be me all day. But there were so many other aspects that I'm like, why do I have to do this if I don't want to?
Yeah, that part. So growing up in community and being a woman, it always felt kind of unfair. It seemed like the boys just got away with everything. They could do anything. They wasn't held accountable. So I hung out with the boys. And did I want to be a boy? Oh my God, yes. Life was easy for boys. It was so complex for us girls, you know? So my first memory is what they say, being a tomboy. I ran with the boys. They were my friends. I did go-kart rides down the steep hills and hustling and doing all kind of crazy stuff that girls do when they hang out with boys. I was everybody's homegirl. They could talk to me about anything. And as I became a young woman and started my journey in the love as a woman, I was very happy to be a woman. That's kind of when it crossed over, like, yo, this is a cool little thing here, right? I'm oversensitive. I'm over emotional, crying about everything. And today I greatly appreciate being a woman. I understand the gift, the power, the strength, being able to birth whole souls through me. Like, just think about a woman being a carrier of life, replenishing the earth. Sacred duty, sacred responsibility. And so much come with it. Because so often, the woman is blamed. So, yes, I appreciate being a woman today. What's your first experience of women?
Of women? That's a good, wow. What is my first experience of women?
When did you notice there was a such thing as women? Aunties. Grannies.
I think now that I think about it, it's like growing up, I think I only knew women. I think I didn't know. I think I didn't know no. I think I didn't know any men. I think it was mostly women. My aunties, my dodo. It was always going to somebody's house. It always I think represented for me so much warmth and kindness and love and chit-chatting and talking, and it was like womanhood for me. I think in a lot of my perceptions, I think about friendship. I think about like, you know, road dogs, or just like, you know, you with your friends, and it was just like a whole movement to it. And then I would say growing up in a house like with only boys, it gave me another like really unique experience of being a girl. Because I think like women, I saw it maybe differently, but girls, it was like, if you were a girl, you just like, I don't even know. I think like I was just having a moment with myself a couple of weeks ago where I was thinking about so many things that I gave up. Really, I would say gave up. I was very aware even as a kid. So there was a lot of stuff that I gave up on pursuing interest in, just because the way my little brain worked. I was all into sciences. I was all into like so many different avenues that I think people just associated with boys. And I had brothers, so like it was natural that I would fall into a lot of these like interests. And it was almost like I was like, I just gave up on it. It was like, I'm not going, even at an early age, like there was like a feeling of being limited, a feeling of like, you can't do this.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Wow, that's interesting.
And now, like, I think only in the past couple of years, if I can be completely honest, I even allowed myself to get back into, like, I was learning how to code and stuff. I even allowed myself to to open that door to even get back into it. And that's when I realized how I just limited it. Maybe even unconsciously. Maybe I was just like, you know, you pick up the social dynamics and you know, like, okay, girls are like this, boys is doing this. And you start categorizing and putting it in places in your mind. So yeah, that was an aspect of it that I was like, man. Or just like household stuff, even if it wasn't in my own house, it was just like you could just see it, like girls got to do so much. You had a cook day. Like none of my brothers, y'all didn't have a cook day. No, nobody's house, none of the boys had a cook day. They never had to cook. It was just a lot of stuff that I just found not fair to me, it just wasn't fair. I'm like, this is not right. This is not right. This is not okay.
Were you able to use your voice and say that?
I think when I was like in middle school, when I had a little more like social media, I could read more. I think it was like, yeah, I wanted to say something about it. I felt like I had something to say. I could not let these unjust things continue to just happen. In the grand scheme, how much space I had to say that, like, outside of my house, you know.
Could you say it in your house?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not. Maybe. I could say it. Maybe I could say it in my house, in my room. But
maybe write it on your walls in
maybe
the back of the
write it
closet.
on my wall. But I could say it somewhere. I could read about it, or I could have my own little view of it.
Wow, so growing up, I look forward to being a sister in the nation. It was like, that was womaning. Like, to be a sister, to have a ceremony, to come in, and you have the right to pursue. Oh my God, you know, my life was mapped out. I was coming in at 18, I was getting married at 19, and my mom was like, heck to the no. You're going to wait till you're 19 and you're not getting married at 20. Grateful. Thank you. Because I was definitely on the road to being that woman. Probably would have turned out to be a housewife, which I don't have anything but positive and love for housewives, because they the ones who do everything, work more jobs than any of us could ever imagine. And I really honor and appreciate you if that's your choice and that's what you enjoy doing. But being a busybody, just looking over life, I couldn't imagine that would be the choice that I would make for myself, but that was all I knew. Women didn't have professions where I thought even to dream what profession I wanted to be. The highest level of professionalism was to be somebody's secretary or to be a seamstress. So of course I pursued the heights of being a secretary. And I had in my hand gift of being a hairstylist. What I loved most was knowing that it was a sacredness to being a woman. And knowing that even though it was a lot of duties, a lot of responsibilities, it just seemed like the woman was the color. She was the flavoring. She was the centerpiece on the table. She did everything. Her hands was in everything. I just didn't see professional women. And there were plenty of professional women in my community. They left their professions. They didn't talk about their professions. They talked about how to be the helpmate, how to be a housewife, how to support your husband, how to take care of him, how to take care of your children. So by the time I was in adulthood, I knew how to cook, I knew how to sew, I knew how to crochet, I could clean a house, I can organize anything. I just tapped into the world of being really studious with books. So I wasn't as thirsty as I am today for knowledge. But maybe I always wanted a little something extra. Maybe that was never enough for me. And thus, I went to discover myself as a professional, which is ironic because I'm in a profession that's dominated by women as a social worker. So I don't know how much of that was inbred, but I love people. I love interacting with people. I do not want to be a coder, a bus driver, a truck driver, a construction worker, because I love people. I couldn't even see myself being an engineer. I love people. If I haven't said that enough, I love people and interactions and helping people change their minds. So as a woman in a professional realm, I did a lot of work with men. And that was very, very intriguing and enlightening for me because I recognized initially that was what I loved doing. I loved the male clients who came in. It was so easy for me to connect. It's easy for me today to connect with everybody, but definitely I have niched myself into working with women because I know the power of a woman and a healed woman and where she can go, what she can give, and how she can transfer that healing to her womb and to herself. So I'm very intrigued by supporting women.
I think what you said about the professional thing, that's so, like, it was so, like, relevant to me in my life too. I think when I was in third grade, I started going to a gifted program, and then I would go, and then it introduced me to a lot about the world, and a lot about my own place in terms of, I think, class, in terms of a lot of things. I was like, oh, I'm in this whole another world. And so I was in third grade, and I think that was the first time that I had heard about, like, somebody saying that they had a mother and she was like a doctor. They were saying like, oh yeah, my mom is a doctor, or my mom is a lawyer, or, you know, my mom is an accountant. It was the first time I think I had really, outside of like movies or a book or like, you know, theory in my mind, because that's just, until you see it in your actual reality, is pretty much just theory. I had never seen women in like professional fields. So it was so like intriguing to me. And I think just because like a lot of the stuff that was associated with women and womanhood, it wasn't stuff that I was particularly like interested in. Sewing, that was cool, I guess. Dancing, that was mid, like so mid. I don't want to be a dancer. Singing, that was all right, but that wasn't like a real thing to me. In a lot of like performance, I think to be a woman in my eyes was to perform. And I think that it was just like something that my energy wasn't gravitating towards. I'm like, to be in service and performance. And I just found a lot of it, if I can be honest, I found a lot of it so fake. It was so fake. It was so fake.
What was fake about it?
I think that there was like with the duty and the service and the performance of it that I witnessed, it just always seemed to be like that was just one part of it. That was just the one end of it. That was just one side of it. And on the other side, I think especially if you're a girl and you grew up around women, I think you get to hear a lot of the other side of it. You get to hear a lot of the back end, not complaints, but just like the reality of what life,
like the heaviness of it,
the complexity of it. Like it was never just this one this one faceted thing that was like, oh, being a girl, that means you were dressing you pretty. It was always so nuanced and so layered to me. And so it was so beautiful, I think. But there was an element of it that I felt was fake. That I felt was like, this is fake. Y'all don't even really go like this. You don't even want to do this. You don't want to do it.
Could you tell they didn't want to do it, or you just heard them talking about they didn't want to do it?
I think I couldn't tell, but I think I heard it, and it was like, wait a minute. Y'all not even too hyped up about this. Y'all not even too geeked about it.
Wow. So a question to the audience. If you have a daughter, you have a mother, and you have a relationship that causes you to sit within yourself, what is womanhood for you? What is womaning? When did you first understand that maybe your role was different than male role? And how did you feel about that? Just food for thought. Because I'm learning some new things even sitting here with her in this conversation, which is always so beautiful.
Yeah.
We challenging ourselves not to have a script or a pre-conversation about it, to show up as authentic and as raw as we can. I know growing up, one of the things that was the most challenging for me with her was when we were getting ready to move to the States and we had to go buy clothes. So tonight when she put on this burgundy, I just remember her asking me to buy her some jeans. And they wasn't tight jeans, but to me they were so tight. Like, why would you want to put something that tight on? Like, I didn't grow up with that. You wore loose fitted clothes, you were modest, and we were going to a new world, we were going to America. Like, why would you do that? No. And talking about womaning, I remember going to the office the next day and talking to my coworker and telling her my experience. And I just remember her asking me, why? Why can't she wear the clothes she want to wear? And something sunk inside of me. And it made me go in deep and ask myself, how committed was I to my community and to the rules or to my daughter? And I was definitely committed to my community. It did not make sense to me. You didn't wear tight pants. Why did you need pants on anyway? Put a skirt on. Why you not just happy to have a skirt on with a hairpiece? And nobody needs to see the shape of your body. And that was a very foretelling moment for me, because later on in life, when she started actually shopping for herself and redesigning clothes, and I couldn't see how beautiful she looked. I missed it. And it took me a moment before I was able to look at her and say, you look beautiful in that. Because all I was looking at was what was forbidden, what wasn't allowed. My whole life, why would I need to allow my daughter to wear jeans? I never wore jeans. Like, you didn't see me wear jeans. Why do all of a sudden you need to wear jeans? I never saw my mom wear jeans, you know. And it just has so much depth and so much definition that today is just so irrelevant in my world, because she gets to be her whole person, whatever that look like. And I get to be my whole person. And I still love dressing modest and the way the community dress. And it doesn't bother me. It's all I'm familiar with, and I'm comfortable with it. And I tried. I flirted with it, with all the other stuff. No interest, for real, for real. Just found my own style and rolled with my style. But what was that like for you? The day you wanted to buy something and I was like, no, because I was holding on to what was familiar.
Now, and I promise y'all, those were some wide jeans, because I wouldn't have even brought like anything that was that tight. I was trying to work within the frame of what I had to work with. I'm like, maybe this will fly, maybe this will slide. But I think that growing up, that was another part. And I think even connecting it to being a woman, that was another part that was so hard for me. It was so hard for me that I can't wear what I want to wear. It was so I can't do what I want to do. I can't wear what I want to wear. For what? Like, even with the, now I'm thinking about it, like, we would always wear like long pants, long modest pants, and then boys could wear shorts. And I'm like, it's summertime. I think we should be able to wear shorts. I don't think that that's something that's like so crazy and so like, what? So I think a lot of it, like, but a lot of that was just really repressed too. It was like how I felt inside of myself. But I think like it was disheartening to, oh my God, I feel like this is making me so emotional. It was disheartening to have elements of myself that I wanted to show and that I wanted to be, and that I didn't feel like it was anything wrong with it, and that I didn't feel like I was doing anything to anybody. I was just expressing myself. I was just being myself, and being constantly told, like, basically, like, that there's something wrong with that.
Oh, wow.
That, like, this is not right. This is not this, but this is what I want to do. So it's like what you kind of hear and internalize is that who you are and how you are and the way that you would like to express yourself is not okay. And that you shouldn't. And that's not, I think, like, every time that I have brought something new to air to, like, maybe I'll ask about this, and it was shut down. It was just like,
wow. It's just feel like I should tell you I'm sorry again for the version of the mother that I was. And the fact that it's still super emotional for you shows that there's some more work we should definitely do there. I'm sorry for taking your voice away from you, your desires, and the things that were important to you, because all I knew is what I knew. And it weighs so much, has so much authority over who I was. And, you know, our parents left America to build a new world. And in building that new world, one of the main things was your name and your culture. So to be set aside, to be seen in your fringes and your cords of blue was the essence of not being a Negro. So for me, it was like, even being able to, looking at the jeans, it was like, oh my God, I just feel like all the sacrifices they made are going down the drain, because they created a world that was supposed to be a world that was supposed to offer you everything that whatever they experienced in America took from them. But in the end, if it also took something away from you, then I just wonder, you know, what was the magnitude? And in the here and now, I know there's still teenagers who are struggling without having a voice on these topics. So I just pray that if you're a mother in any kind of community or lifestyle that have a dress code, that you do set up an opportunity for your daughters to be able to express it, even if you can't do anything to change it in the here and now. Because what we create is a lot of sneaking later, a lot of hiding, a lot of walking out your house in one outfit, and then you don't really get to see who your child or your daughter is until you see some type of picture. Right.
Because they went to their friend's house, changed the outfit, or they had a skirt on, they took the skirt off, and it just creates so much hiding and so much shame about who it is that you are. If you can't go home to your home that you live in, that you sleep in, dress the way that you dress, not the way that somebody else thinks that you should express yourself, not the way that somebody else thinks that you should dress. And if the clothes that your parents would love to see you in, if those are the clothes that you would love to wear, that's a win-win. That's beautiful, because you are still getting to express yourself and be yourself. It's not against, wearing what is deemed appropriate by anybody else. It's just about how willing are you to sacrifice yourself for, I'm not even going to say community, for your parents. How willing are you to show up as yourself? And I think that showing up as yourself comes when you have a safe environment to show up as yourself in. Because you can dibble, like you said, dibble and dabble and play, and you wear this and you wear that, and then you realize, you know what? I love wearing my culture. I love wearing the clothes that I grew up wearing. This is actually what I love to wear. And that's just more beautiful to me. Because you get to see and explore, and you get to pick what feels right for you.
This is super foretelling. Because I'm just having a reflective moment that for me it was so important for my daughter to choose her fabrics that I made her clothes with, the style she wanted to wear, how she wore her hair. I was a professional hairdresser, so pretty much any natural style she wanted, twists, braids, I was so available to do it, because I always thought the one thing that I wanted to do was to give her a voice in the realms of what I was living in. And to understand that I also was taking her voice away because I was limiting her voice is just a very interesting point of view. Something for me to really sit with and understand how many other realms of her voice have I taken away from her because I was the adult, because I was the woman, and I was dictating, and I was deciding, and I knew what was best, and I knew the rules. So that's just very, very interesting.
It is. And I think with the dress thing, with the clothing thing, it's so funny because now, I love dresses. Dresses and skirts. If y'all know me, y'all know dresses and skirts. I love me a good dress, and I love, love, love a good skirt. I love dressing the way that I dress. And it's taken a really long time to figure out, what feels right for me and what feels fun for me and what outfits do I walk out in, and I feel like, okay then. It just feels good to be able to know that the clothing that I'm putting on is the stuff that I want to wear, that I get to be myself, that I get to express myself through clothing, because there's so much expression in clothing and in dress and in style.
So mothers, what fear do you have when your daughter walks out the door and you feel that what she's wearing is inappropriate? Who deemed it inappropriate? And what harm do you foresee coming her way? Because a lot of what I was believing in and what I was feeling was, what door was I opening for her to be inappropriately approached, spoken to by whatever man it was. But that was always the thing in the back of my mind that worried me. Am I allowing her to be in danger because she's wearing whatever she's wearing? And so I couldn't see I couldn't see that, wow, she really has her own flair, her own style. She's mastered matching things up. And all I could see was the harm that could possibly come to her. And, as a parent, if you hold, and I'm saying as a parent because, it could be a father too, if you hold a picture in your mind of harm coming to your child, 9 times out of 10, you're creating that harm. So just food for thought and something to consider.
And I like that you said that, because that add another impact to it, because that was the part of it that was also really hard for me. It wasn't necessarily even that you couldn't wear what you wanted to wear because that's what you wanted to wear. It was like all wrapped up in being a girl. It was all wrapped up in like, because you're a girl, now you can't wear this and you can't wear this because people are going to look at you like this. And there's going to be a perception that you are like this and that you are like this. And that's why it was just like so limiting. And I think at a certain point a long time ago, I had just given up. I had just given up on like that I would be able to express myself in that way. It was just like I guess I'm
conform.
I guess I'll just, yeah, this will be it.
What changed that?
New environments. We left, so it was like, what?
And y'all, it was still hard for me. Every day she got dressed for school. We was in a new environment, but I was still coming from the community. And it wasn't that I was upholding it for the community. I was literally upholding it for me. I thought that was what parenting was. I thought that to be a good parent meant that you followed my rules and that we could talk about it, but it was very limited conversation. Basically, I was doing a lot of talking and you was doing a lot of listening, which meant I really didn't give you an opportunity to fully voice what it was you wanted to say. Going back on her saying a safe place. A safe place is usually going to be a place that I can come and say everything. It doesn't happen overnight. But if you have a daughter or a son, for that matter, please, for me, give them an opportunity to express themselves without your loud voice of the ego and fear, causing them to feel unworthy, not good enough, and feel with shame because of their choices. That there is a balance. I'm not giving no daughter and no household permission to do what you want to do. Your parents are still your parents. But if I can talk to your spirit, I would tell you, I would ask you to find a way to have the conversation with your parents, because when you don't have the conversation is still being had, but it's going to be had on your body. Because I have a whole concept about the body speaks. It speaks loud. It speaks ruthlessly. It speaks tender. It whispers. But the body speaks everything that they are unable to say and everything you're unable to say. Because just because you're their mother, somebody raised you. And maybe there were things you were not able to say either because of the time you were in, because of respect, because, especially, I ain't going to say especially because I don't know. But if you're from an African-American descent, sit down, shut up, and do as I said.
Yeah. Now, I kind of wanted to talk about another aspect of womanhood, which is also like an interesting one that can be wrapped up in so much, and that is periods.
Yeah, I knew this one was going to come up, y'all.
Inactivity. Wow. That was another marker of, like, to me, great shame. You can't even talk about it for real. You could talk about it in like these conversations about cleanliness and and this and that, but it's like a real conversation was still a little off limits. I remember when I first got my period growing up, I think it was also really interesting for me because it was like at home it was a different story, but then it's like I had all brothers, so it was different on that aspect too. But it was like we had talked about periods and, when you get your first period, what you do and coming together. And even I think when I got my first period, my mom, my grandma, they did me a celebration of womanhood and coming into womanhood, and it was so beautiful, and it was so like impactful, and feeling like, all right, this is like a new journey and a new step and this new like thing. And then it was like on the outside there was just a lot of like shame around it, around something that is so natural, that's so like, it's so natural. It's even like in going to the bathroom. I'm thinking about it right now, going to the bathroom with like a pad crumpled in my hand, or I tucked it in the inside of my skirt, just because it just felt like so, yeah.
Wow, periods. Periods. How significant that would be something that she would bring up. And I'm so grateful that we did a ceremony for her, because that was my mom. My mom was really, really big on, let's honor it. Let's welcome her into womanhood, and we're going to have a ceremony, and it's just not going to be a passing thought, you know. We always been communicative, so talking about what you do seemed natural for me, because my mom wasn't here when I got my first period, so she couldn't have a ceremony for me. And I just remember it. I remember like not knowing what to do.
Like, what do you say? Like, what's the...
Like going to bed and waking up totally with rained out panties, and like the women standing over me saying, oh my God, congratulations. And it was like, for what? And just, I really appreciate that time set aside. It was definitely good for me growing up in it. I can't say I felt shamed. Discretion, I felt, because that was just, who needs to know about this? This is a woman thing. I felt excited. I felt proud. I remember going to my friend's house telling everybody the next day, oh my God, you can believe what happened to me. And I didn't have a problem using an active cloth. I understood what the law said. It made sense to me. And I accepted it. I mean, so many women before me had did it. Who was I to come and think, you know, to even have an opinion, right? So I think to take a moment for yourself to be set aside. I'd read the Red Tent, not that young, but when I read it, I really, really was like, oh my God, this is sacred. However, a few years ago, I went to a retreat, and when you're on your period, you can't interact. And I was determined. I'm going to do what I want to do. Ain't nobody going to tell me what I can do and what I can't do. And they're not going to know anyway. So I went to the shaman and I asked him to explain me why. And after he explained why, that menstruation is its own medicine and the gifts that it brought, especially to the earth and to men, to end wars. And I don't know what he said to me, but he told me it would be such an honor for the whole group if I did get my period and I bled the earth. And that was new for me. I never heard of that. So, of course, when I looked it up, I wanted to understand it. And it was such a sacred practice that's done in African cultures and throughout the world. And suddenly, I felt so much honor for this thing called a period that came, you know, I actually set the retreat out, of course. But something triggered me when one of the women was doing the acupuncture on us to end our cycle as quickly as possible so we can join the group again. And one of the men came and told her she wasn't supposed to touch us. And you know, when you're doing a retreat like that, all kind of stuff happens. And it was we was doing an emotional retreat on the water. And I just remember going in my room and feeling completely paranoid. Like completely, like they gonna know. Do I supposed to take 7 days when all the draining is go? How do I measure this? Because all I had was you on your period for 7 days, because that's what the Bible says. And so I didn't know how to count this. I didn't know how to navigate this. And I felt so rebellious inside of myself and so disconnected and confused. And I remember calling a friend and telling her, I'm tripping. And she was like, well, what are you tripping about? And I told her, she was like, just breathe, Rukama. It's all right. Whatever decision you make is the right decision. And I love that allowance. I love that I had a friend in my life, another woman, who understood what it was and who could feel me. So that's what mine came later.
Yeah, I think for me, a lot of the feeling around it was, I think maybe just I got my period early, so it just felt like I don't even want anybody to know. Right. And I think when we were in school, we would have our opening prayer, and if you were on your period, then you couldn't go in. I don't know if it's that you couldn't pray.
You couldn't pray with the group.
You couldn't pray with the group, like when you were.
It was a certain place for you to stay, and that was separate.
So I think that was a part of like the foundation. That was like part of like some foundational moments of just feeling like when you standing out there and everybody's walking past. I don't know. It just gave me a feeling of like everybody is in my personal underwear. Wow. Like I think that like the fact that it was something that was expected to be known, that you would announce like that I'm on my period, it just made it so like
who would I announce
weird
it
to me.
You said just the circumstances of you having to sit on a cloth and being
sitting on the cloth, standing outside. That's me announcing it to me, and it was just like I don't know. It just
And today, if you had an opportunity for somebody to actually serve you for 7 days, to take care of you, to allow you.
I think if that would have been my experience, then that would have sounded cool. That wasn't the experience.
What was your experience?
You was just on your period and you couldn't go in the kitchen. And I want to go in the kitchen. So it's like, this is not even like, it's not like, I think maybe nobody was serving me. I wasn't on no break. I was in school. I was learning. I was still doing the stuff I had to do. I was just mildly uncomfortable. But I think as I got older, and then it wasn't like I was one of the only ones that had a period. It was a lot more regular because it was a lot more of the age group now, and it was something more like that we could talk about. And it's like, oh my, and how long did you miss yours? And it was like it created more conversation and connection. And I think even now, even the cycle syncing up. I remember. In so many stages of my life, it's like, oh, we got it together. Oh, we on the same. don't airdrop me your inactivity. Like it was just like there's a lot of connection and bonding that comes with it in spaces. I think between women, that's what it felt like. Or like even when I was in the Army, and we'd be all us girls in the room, and then we'd all get our cycles like in the same week or a week apart. It's just like it's so bonding. It's so connecting now. Now that I'm older, also still mildly uncomfortable, but things changed. The dynamic of it shifted and changed. But I think those early experiences, and I think now that I think about it, it was because I just got it so young. It just felt like so out of place. Like, this is not something that I want to be dealing with.
Wow. Okay. Where do we go from here? Women. What's your menstrual cycle story? What's your daughter's?
Yeah. Put in the comments how many days your cycle.
And guys, if you're watching this is a topic you should talk about as well. If you have daughters, you should understand this topic. You shouldn't shy away from it.
Yeah.
Knowledge is miraculous, and ignorance is bliss.
Yeah.
Decide which one you want. Let's take a pause and ask each other another question before we continue on. Or maybe we should ask the audience a question they can ask their daughters.
Let's see. I'm going to kind of pull from
We're Not Really
Strangers deck. Let's see. This is like a question that I don't know why I just read something completely different. When you're asked, how are you? How often do you answer truthfully? You want to answer? Or this is a question for the audience?
That was a question for the audience. I love those eyes.
Audience?
Like, drop it in the chat. Drop it in the comments.
Wow. Why do you think we met?
Whoa! Is that a loaded question? Well, obviously, on some level, we chose each other. And I think we meant to be sitting here today, to do some generational healing, to release patterns of behavior that maybe our great-grandmothers didn't get an opportunity to do. So honored and grateful to them for all that they endured and everything they did for us to be here today. We meant for us to find love.
For sure.
Openness, allowance.
Discovery, exploration.
Why do you think we met?
Well, I would just amplify your answer to do some work, much needed.
Interesting. Why do you think you and your daughters met?
Yeah.
Or you and your mom met?
Yeah, right?
Or you and your sons met? Or you and whoever you want to put in this question? Why do you
think we met is such a good question.
Wow.
And it kind of says a lot about whatever the relationship is. How would you define a woman today? What will be your definition, your working definition of what a woman is?
A woman is beautiful, expansive, complex, ever evolving, safe and unsafe. I think polarity come to mind. Resilient, strong, determined. Yeah. But those are characteristics. I think every woman is every woman.
Every woman.
It's all in me. Anything you want from me, baby, I do it naturally. Who else is I'm every woman? That's going to lead us into our next conversation. Why do we have to be every woman? Can we truly be every woman? Or have we carried the heaviness of attempting to be every woman? I just want to be who I'm a woman. And not all the extras. There are things that I do not want to do as a woman. And I don't want to have to be made to do it. And I don't want to be talked about because I don't do it. Judgment. So how do you define a woman today?
So for me, being a woman, I think, is being powerful, being a boss, being grown, doing your own stuff, the way you want to do it, in the way that works best for you. And it's just like embodying soft, creative energy of flow, but also being steady and being stable and being kind and courageous and not being afraid, being ambitious, going after what you believe in, going after the things that you care about, and taking care of the people that you love. I think that's also a part of it. I think I'm really excited, and I think this is because changes that we've done in our relationship, I can say honestly, and in my own relationship with myself, where like I'm happy to be a woman, and I can't wait to see where this journey of womanhood takes me. And I don't think it's always been that way. I think I always viewed it as something, not always, but I definitely viewed it as something that was like, I would have said womanhood is getting married and having kids. Getting married, having kids, being a wife. And it's like now I can see that while it can encompass that, it's so much more. And it can be so much more, and it's all under the same roof, and it's all under the same umbrella. And it's not a separate thing. Having a career or having a passion or creative endeavors, it's not like this or that. You have to choose this or that. It's that you can integrate this and this, and just being able to expand and grow. And I think another part of it is just seeing seeing my grandma age so gracefully, and, you know, still do the things that she loves doing, and the working out and having conversations and being married and going on the adventures and having the fun in the way that fits for her. It inspires me. It really inspires me when I look at womanhood and then seeing my mother, and it's like into the different ages and the different stages, and like it's like, wow, this can go so many different ways. This can meet me in so many different places, and it's not one static definition and idea of like what it means. And now that if you've deviated from that, then it's like, oh, that you're doing something wrong. It's just that people are who they are, and women encompass just so many areas and have so many hats and have so many definitions. It's like no one definition, I think, could even define what women are and what womanhood is.
Wow, that was beautiful. So, as we wrap up, I would first like to give a lot of love and honor and appreciation to all the women in my life, all those who modeled for me what it is to be a woman, and continue to model that for me. Thank you to my mom for being a woman, to my big sister for teaching me a lot about womanhood, and to random people. It's a lot of random people who became a part of my journey because somebody told me something they was doing inside their household that was working and raising their children. And I'm always just so grateful for the women who helped me raise my children, the friends who we went to the park with, who our families became so close. We called ourselves the Circle of Love. Our children became cousins, still have deep relationships from going to the park to us all sitting on the floor and eating together and just celebrating the journey of mothering and womaning. And I just want to tell you thank you. I don't want to start calling names because if I start calling names, it'll never end. So if you are a woman who have been a part of my journey, I just want to thank you. I honor you. I salute the divinity in you. And I'm super grateful for the part that you played in the woman I've become and that I'm becoming. And prayerfully, what you've taught me, I've been able to instill in my daughter, and we will continue to see it in future generations.
I would like to also give some big thanks to everybody she mentioned, and to all the women in my life, known and unknown, that I saw even from a distance. And I was like, okay, that there's more to this experience than maybe what my limited perception could see, that allowed me to see women in so many different areas and in so many different fields just being exactly who they are, and it showing up in their work, and it showing up in their lives, and in the way that they raise their family and the way that they interact with strangers. It has always left such an impression on me of like, oh wow, I'm gonna remember that. I love women. I love women. I always have, and I think now I'm coming into loving womanhood and loving this experience.
Thank you, Batia, for being candid and for showing up. One last question. Which deck you want to choose from? Because I just automatically went to We're Not Strangers. What would you like?
You can choose whatever you would like. As the elder.
She did not just call me an elder, but okay. I guess I will receive that today. Okay, let's see what we come up with. She said, as the elder. I'm going to have to think about that some more. What reality TV or game show would you like to be on?
Girl, maybe I would want to be on, I don't even know. I don't even really watch reality TV. And game shows, if it was a game show, something I could win a lot of money on. That's it.
You remember Judge Judy? You are the weakest link. I don't know why that came to my mind.
I thought about that
my
too.
mom used to watch it.
I thought about that too. I'm like the weakest link. But no, I don't know how well I might be off on the first episode. That's why I was thinking about something I could make some money on and it wouldn't be too hard. Now I want to ask another question.
Okay.
What's your ultimate dream date as a woman?
I think on a random conversation, we had this conversation. To the heights of the heights. Take me to a high mountain with a candlelight dinner when the finest clothes and serenade me with your love.
Period.
Great cuisine, maybe a breezer. We keep it light. That's a good question to ask me as I'm wrapping up, because one of the things that was so important for me was for Conchania to see our first episode. Of course, I wanted her to see more episodes, but I wanted us to air the first episode so that she could see it and to ask about, the ideal date. And all I could think of when that just went in my mind was how much she loved food. And she was just such a foodie. She loved to cook. She loved to prepare food. And all she kept saying is that I can't wait to the next chapter to make a big spread for y'all. So the ideal date would be what Conky's cooking.
That's neat.
Yeah. Now I have to ask you one, right? Or did I ask you one?
You asked me one.
And you asked me one?
Yeah.
Oh, like
I think we might have.
We get confused with these.
This card thing. This is a test on our intelligence. Clearly, we making it through, but just barely.
We hope we be keeping it light for you, and that you are having exciting moments. Feel free to go ahead and subscribe to us so that when the episodes come, you'll be the first one to know about them. And leave comments and like and share. And I hope this is helpful for you and your daughters, you and your mom, or you and whomever you're using this for. I hope that it'll open up a bigger conversation for you about what it is to be a woman, and period, what it is to be you.
Period. Bye.
Love y'all.
Love y'all.
Until next time.